JC Tonic is a natural drink filled with 18 herbs that will change your life. They work together to restore your energy, detoxify your bloodstream, and purifies your entire system.
Jurak Classic Whole Body Tonic is a dietary supplement, not a drug. Therefore, it is useful to affect the structure and or function of your body in various ways. But it is not intended to and will not cure, mitigate, treat, or prevent any disease. Individual testimonials may not be everyone's experience and do not constitute scientific evidence. Jurak Corporation does not make any drug or treatment claims for its product.
Everyone, the Tonic Man with another fantastic podcast. This time we have a guest that's really, really outstanding. You've never heard anything like this before, so buckle up. Look, there is something on our logo that I'm sure many of you have not even noticed over the years. At the very bottom, underneath, it says Siempre Viva, and that translates as live forever. Now, I don't know why my dad put that on the logo, which was designed probably, it began on the label in 1945 on his first label, but the design of the company logo, probably by 1950, was actually my brother Norman, who actually did the artwork for the label to give to the printer. So it was about 1950. And that Siempre Viva, live forever, is exactly what we are experiencing today, 80 plus years later. Because people are seemingly living forever. I mean, live forever is something, but if you can extend your good health for 20 or 30 years beyond what is expected or what is normal, well, that's to me living forever. So that's the subject of our call today. Again, the youth solution, JC Tonic. So sit back, and here comes our guest.
Thank you, Anthony. I would just urge everyone who's listening to stay with it till the end of the call, because even though it might seem unusual, some of the information, there is proof that this method does work. With dowsing, it's an ancient science that goes back thousands of years. People have used it for finding water and minerals and lost treasure, etc., for all that time. And I started to find out about it well over a decade ago, so I'm well acquainted with how it works. And I decided to look for information about the tonic that I didn't already know. And I found out some very interesting pieces of information, such as the fact that it's telling me that with conditions such as the full range of autism, that if someone took 3 ounces a day, by the end of 11 months, they just wouldn't be displaying those symptoms of those problems. That's one thing it told me. Same with ADHD, 3 ounces a day for 11 months, they get the same result. No obvious continuation of the issue. And with Asperger's syndrome, if they did the same, 3 ounces a day for 11 months, the negative aspects of that condition wouldn't be showing up. This is what dowsing is saying. And I wanted to know if it would help with aging, and the answer to that was yes. So anyone would have to take a minimum of 3.5 ounces a day, it's telling me, to cope with aging and to do something positive about it. And that would be the minimum amount anyone would have to take a day. Whereas, say they took 4 ounces a day and they kept doing that over a period of time, according to dowsing, after one year of doing that, if they started out at 72 years of age, after 1 year, it's telling me they'd be 68 physically. And after 3 years, 57. And after 6 years, 33. And after 8 years, 21. And believe it or not, after 9 years, 16. That's physically, not mentally. And of course, at that age, they wouldn't be getting any younger. That would be the limit. and their body at that age would be producing some vitamin C like people did in ancient times. So that's what I found out, and there is proof that the method does work, because quite a number of years ago, because I've always been interested in history, I did some research about Noah's Ark to find out what the actual reality of that was according to Dowsing. And what I found was that, the so-called experts come on TV will tell you that such a large wooden ship could not survive in the rough ocean, out in ocean conditions, to just fall to pieces, just wouldn't be strong enough. Well, they don't think outside the box, because the answer to that is very simple. I did the dowsing on that, and it told me that the ark, the ribs of the ark were built of massive timbers, and that they were 9 feet apart from one to the other. Well, very recently I found a video online on the internet which showed an anomaly that they found in Turkey in the Ararat region. It's been known about for quite a long time, and it's a ship-shaped anomaly, and they've done various electronic testing with it, to find out what's actually under this structure, because it's covered up in mud. So it's very hard to just see what is actually there without electronic surveillance. And they found that every 9 feet there is a rib. So that's proof positive that the method of dowsing does work, as far as I'm concerned. So that covers that. And would you like to say anything, Anthony?
I'd like to say what I'm sure all our listeners are saying, if they have not already closed the line saying we're crazy. I would like to say, let's explain to everybody why this may not be so crazy, because we have all been brainwashed to believe in the science. So they say, the science, the science, the science. But there are many things that science does not prove until somebody figures it out, and oh, voila, now it's possible and now it's doable. And you could probably say that about just about anything, because I don't know how we were doing in the, for example, the knowledge of a battery in the Middle Ages. I don't know if anybody ever thought that we could make something called a battery, but I'm sure not. And so on with just about everything, including space travel, including the flight of an airplane, and on and on and on. So things get discovered as we get smarter, or as people dig deeper, or whatever the process is. So, folks, why not this? It has been used for eons. I mean, not hundreds of years, probably, well, at least 1,000 years, maybe 3,000 years. And I remember growing up as a youngster, hearing about dowsing. Particularly, I think they used a lot of it in America for looking for water. Um, I don't know, Lindsay, how successful people were using it for finding water, but I thought there were some quite some successes, were there not?
Yeah, well, yes, it just depended on the ability of the dowser themselves. I'm not a professional dowser, but as I just mentioned, I've got that proof there that the system does work, from what I just mentioned about the ribs of the ark. Well, I've done quite some more research on the tonic too, and I found that 2 ounces of the tonic a day is 120% more effective than 1 ounce, and 3 ounces is 230% more effective than 1 ounce. 4 ounces is 340% more effective than 1 ounce. 5 ounces is 440% more effective than 1 ounce. 6 ounces is 540% more effective than 1 ounce. So we've got to be looking at it from this perspective. As people increase the ounces they take a day of the tonic up to those higher dosages, what they're getting is not just 1 and 1 is 2. What they're getting is exponential increase. It's a multiplying effect. It's a bit like something like compound interest that increases and builds on itself. And therefore the time needed to kick in the rejuvenation effect, the anti-aging effect, gets less as people take more of the tonic over an extended period of time. So this is what it's suggesting.
Well, Lindsay, what you're saying, and stick with us, everybody, because what Lindsay is saying is what we have been saying about the tonic since my father began to commercialize it in 1943. The more you take, the better it is. It seems to be, as Lindsay just showed, it's not doubling or tripling. It's a multiplier effect that the more you take, the better it gets for whatever you're using it for. Now, I know that we have a couple of cases of people autism that drank the tonic, but they did not drink the quantities that Lindsay said you have to drink in order to roll back that issue, partially or completely. But we did have success with the small quantities that people had. There was a youngster in Southern California. He was in high school and he was throwing chairs through windows, and the school was trying to get rid of him, and kept telling the school board and the parents, we can't keep him, he's too destructive. And he started drinking the tonic, and within simply 1 week the school called and said to the folks, to his parents, what did you do? The fellow's name actually was Johnny, so they said, what did you do to Johnny? And the mother said, what do you mean? Well, they said, he's so calm and cool and collected, and now he's getting into doing work and so on. What did you do? And the only thing she did different is she started giving him the tonic. And I know this. I was at a presentation in Southern California, and a whole pile of people came. And this lady came to the presentation, and she was crying and telling the story. But that was on small quantities. Imagine if he had taken what Lindsay just said. And it's the same with the anti-aging. They tell me I look a little younger. There's a lady on the latest video we put out, Martha, who looks far younger than her age. There is Ruthie, who looks her photo at 65 looks like the photo should be an 85, because the 85 looks like she was 65. So we know this works, and none of us are taking those kind of quantities. However, we do also have a great testimonial on a video from Cecil, who told us that his testosterone just shot up like a rocket when he boosted his dosage from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 up to 5 and 6 ounces a day. So I think that what Lindsay is saying is absolutely right. He just put his finger on it, telling us if we want to have those results, how much we have to be drinking. So all of that is what Lindsay is telling us in this call. And now we just need some of you to give it that try, because if you do it over, what is it, an 11-month period, you could get those kind of results. To me, that's like as miraculous as the Noah's Ark, for Pete's sake, you know?
Yeah, there's the testimonial from January this year, 2025. The guy on there, he turned his age back by 6 years, so it's already been proven. Actually, physically, he checked that with a scientific instrument. He proved that.
But that's right. That's right. We have it. That's right. Jean-Sebastien, who was working towards doing a triathlon. He had this Garmin watch, which apparently is very scientific, and there's no doubt that the measurements it does on the human body are true and correct. And you're right, Lindsay. His watch rolled him back uh, 6 years on 5 ounces a day over a year's time. Is that fits about with what you said?
Yeah, and as well as what I've just mentioned, also I found out with the dowsing that a person starting at age 72 and taking 5 ounces of the tonic daily, that's every day. It would take them just over the 4 years to reverse their age back to the same level as if they took it 4 ounces for 9 years. That would be, it's telling me 16 years old. And they're telling me, it's telling me if someone of age 40 did the same, took 5 ounces of the tonic daily, it would take 1 year and 8 months to get back to 16. So this is 16 to look at and in their health and vitality, not be 16 years old as a teenager mentally.
Well, mentally, you still know everything you know?
Yeah, and so...
This is only physical. This has nothing to do with mental or anything else. It's only physical.
Yeah. Well, their outlook on life would be good. You know, their health would be so good.
Yeah.
It'd be incredible. Like the 3 ounces daily of the tonic will slow aging down. It won't reverse it. So say someone, the dowsing is saying if someone, the average person, say beginning at age 35, took 3 ounces daily for 40 years, by age 75, they'd be physically 40 years old, it's telling me. If they kept taking it daily, for the rest of their life, it's possible they could live over 100. That's what it's saying.
Well, so look, I'm gonna do my next podcast 4 years from now when I'm 16.
Yeah, and yeah. So I can only say what the information is that I'm getting. You know, no one has done this yet to prove it, but we have some proof of the podcast in January this year, 2025. So that is proof positive that it.
We have all the proof of all the folks who maybe drank 1 or 2 or 3 ounces and are looking and acting far younger than their true age. I mean, that we have a lot of people, but knowing this, maybe everybody would be drinking a lot more so that they really could get far younger in all respects. I know I'm going to start drinking much more because I want to test this and make sure it's working for me. And if I could roll it back even 20 years, boy, will I be one happy fellow.
I believe the way it works is that it repairs the body, say in a 12-month period, you get so much repair at so much dose per day. And then if you kept up that same dosage, you'd get the second year, a third year, whatever, as it goes forward in time. You're building on a body that's regenerating, so it doesn't have to work as hard to shift things from where they were started out at. You're already got a certain level of regeneration each day, so it gets easier for this to happen. It's a bit like a wheel turning on a vehicle. Once it starts turning, it keeps turning, and as long as the propulsion is there, the turning action gains in momentum. If you see what I mean. That's the way I think it works.
So Lindsay is going to start his process. I'm going to start mine, and everybody listening, why don't you all start yours, and we could all meet back in high school.
Something else I found out too, Anthony, just before I finish up, if someone had a child who had severe growth issues, like that was destined to be, instead of the average height of about 5'10" for a man, say the young boy was destined for a height of say it's telling me 4'6". That was going to be his adult height. Well, if he started at age 5, it's telling me, and on 6 ounces a day, he would get to be average height. It's telling me he wouldn't be that 4'6". He'd be a normal height. So.
But he couldn't. A 5-year-old could not drink 6 ounces a day. So what's the story? They would take less, and it will take longer, right?
Well, he could do a higher dose than normal, I guess, but he could catch up and end up much taller than he would have otherwise have been destined for. And there are people like that have children like that, and that's another aspect that I found out.
Well, I'm sure of that because we have youngsters around, and maybe not 5, but certainly not even 10 years old. There's one actually on the video of a fellow who had the ADAH thing, and he was out of it completely, and even on 1 ounce a day. So the reversal of the health issues is just the indication that the body is getting younger. And that's what we're telling people for the last 80 years. It is the youth solution. And the idea is you keep increasing it and drink it regularly for a lifetime, and your body will just get younger and younger. Or, as I like to say, it won't grow old so quickly. But you're telling us something totally different. You're telling us that a person can start at 72 or 65 or 40 and drink the larger quantities, and their body is going to start to get young in all respects, including all the physical respects. And that is
Yes.
That is incredible.
That naturally, the older somebody is when they start, the longer it's going to take them, and what it would be for somebody much younger. That's just natural. It's all in perspective and it's all in proportion. It's just a question of when anybody starts and how much they are able or prepared to take of the tonic on a daily basis. That's basically what it comes down to.
Wow. Holy smokes. I guess no one is left on the phone on the podcast listening. They must all race to their computer to place an order.
Well, if I was listening and I hadn't heard of it before, I would be doing some research right now and on getting on the site and looking it up because really, seriously, it's the best health product I've ever used, and I've been investigating health for close on 50 years, so it's the best thing I've come across.
Well, that's a great testimonial, and folks, I think Lindsay has covered it. That's Dowsing, Dowsing. You can look it up and get the history of it. But some people think it's pie in the sky, but there's an awful lot of history. There's an awful lot of things being written about it, and a lot of proof of success. Now, people will say it's a fluke, but is it a fluke when you manage to get a rocket ship to the moon? Well, it's kind of a fluke, but what about getting it to Mars? Well, we're going to do that soon too. So I think that it's the same here. If you try and you actually do what Lindsay has just suggested to do, you may have that wonderful surprise of staying young. But look, don't worry about being 16 again if you're 70. Just be happy if you're 50 or 40 in your outlook on life, in your ability, in your health, in your brain power, and so on. If I can go back 20, 30, 40, or 50 years, even if I don't get to 16, I'm going to be one happy fellow, I tell you.
Yeah, well, it's like somebody said one time. It's not the years in your life; it's the life in your years. So, quality of life is much more important, really, than a huge length of life. Just a huge length of life by and of itself is one thing, but quality of life is a whole other ball game. So that's the way we've got to look at it too.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, everybody. So, Lindsay, wow, that is great. Thank you for your knowledge and sharing it. And uh, I believe that there's a lot of things in this world that seems to be pie in the sky, but it's pretty hard to argue if something works. My dad used to say that about the tonic in the 30s when people said, "Yeah, well, there's no science." And he used to say, I use the empirical science. If something works, it's good. If it doesn't work, it's no good. So that's going to be the same thing here. Is dowsing any good? Well, try the 4 ounces a day and see if you can do like Jean Sebastien. In 1 year, his body got 6 years younger. And that is scientific because it was measured by scientific instruments that for all intents and purposes, his body, his insides, his organs, the body in general is 6 years younger. To me, that's unbelievable. And when he said it, I found it really hard to believe, but I can see now that that's just the beginning. So, wow. Okay, Lindsay, go ahead.
Also, one other thing too. Once it tells me with the dowsing that if someone starts on four ounces a day, it would take them 6 months on 4 ounces before they even start to reverse age. That particular guy on that January 2025 podcast, I believe he was taking 5 ounces a day, and he would have got the result much more quickly than on 4 ounces a day.
Well, his results happened within a year. I don't know the exact time, but a year on after taking 5 ounces a day, that's what the measurement was.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about covers everything, I think.
Thank you, Lindsay, very much, and much appreciated. And we'll talk again real soon.
Thank you, Anthony.
So there you have it, folks. Once again, another most outstanding conference call podcast. I said conference call because I wanted to remind you that we are no longer doing our phone conference calls. We are doing podcasts. And that's 25 years later after we started our first conference call 25 years ago. And it's time for the change. As I said in our email to announce this call, and the times, they are a-changin'. So times are changing. Stand by as we announce our podcast calls. And of course, we need all of you to contribute to the podcast. Be a podcast guest. So contact us and let us know when you're ready. We'll set everything up for you and get you organized. And as far as this podcast is concerned, and what Lindsay has had to say, it's probably pretty well self-explanatory. There's very little I can add. You may think this is pie in the sky, and this idea of dowsing is a joke. That's fine. A lot of people do think it's a joke, but they thought it was a joke when someone said we could fly. And finally, the Wright brothers got a plane in the air, and everybody thought it's a miracle. So it's been that way for many, many things. I remember when my dad first began thinking about this preparation, it was 1922. Well, that was the year that insulin was discovered, because prior to that, people that had a pancreatic problem that created that diabetes number 1 died. There was nothing. So no one believed that that was possible either. So who is to say that dowsing is not a true science? It has been proven, and now Lindsay has told us it has been proven in the case of the JC Tonic, the youth solution, because people are staying younger. So just think on that and maybe drink a little bit more and get on the youth solution bandwagon. We have enough proof to tell you that those of you who want to stay on it as a regular part of your healthy living going forward, you are all going to look and feel younger. And on that note, as usual, see you later. See you the next time. Have a great, great rest of your day. And don't forget, take an ounce and feel the bounce. Bye for now.